Am I the asshole for uninviting my future mother in law for my wedding after what she did at our engagement announcement? I, 28 female, have been with my fiance, Daniel, 30 male, for almost 5 years. We got engaged 6 months ago and are getting married in October. My relationship with his mother, Carol, 58 female, has always been complicated. She has never directly told me she doesn't like me, but she has made plenty of comments over the years that make it obvious she doesn't think I'm good enough for her son. When I first met her, she asked what I did for work. When I told her, she smiled and said, "Oh, so you're still figuring things out." I've had the same career for 8 years. She has also constantly compared me to Daniel's ex girlfriend Jessica, who apparently had a prestigious career and was more traditional. I have always tried to be polite. Daniel has defended me, but he hates confrontation. His usual response to his mother is, "Mom, stop," followed by changing the subject. About 6 months ago, Daniel proposed. We decided to have a small engagement dinner at my parents' house to announce it officially to both families. The dinner was supposed to be very simple, just our parents, siblings, and a few close friends. My parents hosted. I spent most of the day helping my mom prepare everything. After dinner, Daniel and I stood up together. He gave a little speech and then announced that we are getting married next October. My mom cried. My dad hugged Daniel. His father congratulated us. Then Carol stood up. She said, "Well, I suppose we should talk about the wedding." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She started explaining that she and her husband had already discussed the wedding budget with Daniel. I looked at Daniel. He looked just as confused as I was. I said, "What do you mean you have discussed the wedding?" Carol said, "Well, obviously, we have to make some decisions. We are going to be contributing financially, so we thought it was only fair that we have some say." We had no intention to ask anyone to pay for our wedding, and that's when she started listing all the things she had apparently already decided. She wanted us to get married in a particular church. She wanted a specific venue. She had already created a guest list. Mind you, we only have been engaged for about a week at that point. She had even told several of her friends that they would be invited. I finally said that nobody asked her to pay for our wedding, and she looked at me like I slapped her. I told her we appreciated the offer, but Daniel and I intended to pay for the wedding ourselves. She then said, "Well, that's ridiculous. If you can't afford a proper wedding, maybe you should reconsider getting married so soon." That was the moment I lost my temper. I told her that our financial situation wasn't her concern and that she had no right to humiliate me in my own home during our engagement announcement. She said I was being dramatic. And then she looked at Daniel and said, "See, this is exactly what I've been talking about." I asked her what that meant, and she said that I don't respect her family. I've had enough, and I went upstairs and cried from anger. Honestly, Daniel came up behind me and said he didn't know any of this was happening, nor did he discuss anything about wedding or the budget with his family, and he promised he would handle it. When we went back downstairs, Daniel told his parents that we would be paying for the wedding ourselves and that his mother would not be making decisions about it. Carol was furious. She told me I was ungrateful. Then she said, "Fine, pay for your own wedding, but don't expect me to sit there and watch you ruin my son's wedding." I told her that's her choice. She left with her husband shortly afterwards. For the next few weeks, things were tense. Daniel called his mother the next day and told her she owed me an apology. She refused and instead insisted that I was the one that embarrassed her. She also told him that she had only offered to pay because she was concerned about her ability to afford a wedding. He hung up on her. We started planning the wedding ourselves. A month after the engagement dinner, we booked our venue. 2 months after that, we sent our save the dates. At that point, Carol called me and she said she had concerns about the guest list. I told her the guest list was already finalized. She said, "Well, I've already told people they are invited." I told her that wasn't my responsibility. She then said something that made me realize the engagement dinner hadn't been an impulsive outburst. She said, "You should remember that you are marrying into this family." I asked her what that was supposed to mean. She said, "Don't make enemies before you have even walked down the aisle." I asked her if she was threatening me. She said, "No, I'm warning you." I hung up. After that, I stopped communicating with her directly. Daniel continued talking to her. Over the next few months, she repeatedly complained to him about me. She told him I was isolating him from his family. She told his siblings that I was controlling him. She told several relatives that I had banned her from the wedding planning because I was jealous of her relationship with her son. Then my future father in law called me directly and apologized for his wife's behavior. I thanked him, but told him that I want her to apologize on her own to my face. He said he understood, and we talked, and in that phone call I learned that Carol was talking about the wedding from the day Daniel said he would propose. She was telling her friend that she was going to make sure the wedding was done properly, whatever that means. And she was telling everyone she was paying for the wedding because my parents can't afford it. So the last words hers. To say I was pissed is an understatement. In that moment, I decided that woman will not come anywhere near my wedding. I told Daniel I wanted to invite her. He was understandably upset. He said he understood why I felt that way, but he was worried about the consequences. I told him I wasn't asking him to stop having a relationship with his mother. I just didn't want someone who had spent the last 6 months insulting me, embarrassing my parents, threatening me, and telling everyone I was ruining her son's life sitting in the front row at my wedding. Daniel eventually agreed. We told Carol 2 weeks ago, and she completely lost it. She said I had stolen her son and I was punishing her because she had tried to help financially. I reminded her that she was uninvited because of how she treated my parents and because she had repeatedly tried to control our wedding. She told me that if she wasn't invited, she would make sure everyone knew exactly what kind of person I was, and she hung up. Since then, the family drama has exploded. His aunt called me selfish. His sister said I was putting Daniel in an impossible position. His cousin said that no mother should miss her son's wedding over a disagreement about money. But that's not what happened. This isn't about the money. It's about the fact that she used our engagement announcement to publicly humiliate my parents, try to take control of our wedding, and then spend the following 6 months trying to make me look like the villain for refusing to let her. Our wedding is in October. Carol is not invited. Daniel says he supports my decision, but I can tell he is worried that this will permanently damage his relationship with his mother. I am starting to feel guilty because despite everything, I know this is a huge decision. So, am I the asshole for uninviting my future mother in law from our wedding after what she did at our engagement announcement?